the Chinese virus.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Just a little bit of fun there to start things off. So yeah, sign in if anybody's there. Just let me know that you're watching. Hopefully we get a few people signing in today. So a lot of things have happened this week, from the U.S. presidential debate to people trying to cross the border to cause havoc down in the U.S. Then we have, of course, well, last week we had Singh breaking up with Trudeau, and he actually did use those words, that he was breaking up with Trudeau. And now the Bloc is just jumping on, and you're figuring that they're going to take advantage of that. So that's it's kind of where we're at today. Yeah, I think maybe we should start with a little bit of the U.S. presidential election, just because you know, it's kind of funny, some of the things that happened there. In
Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
They're eating the pets. Well, of course, ABC fact-checked that right away and said that that's not happening. Of course, they don't actually know if that's not happening, because it's not as far-fetched as you might think, you know. But of course, now they've come up with all sorts of memes for that. Some of my favorites are, you know, Trump for cats and dogs and whatnot. So yeah, I thought that was actually pretty good, those memes. So I think that if you watched the debate, I watched it, and I thought that it was well, quite frankly, I thought that Harris won, but not because she had any substance, just because she kept her poise and whatnot. But also, obviously the commentators were on her side. They kept on fact checking Trump, and she lied several times, and they never fact checked her at all. So yeah, I think my feeling was that she won, but I don't think she won fair. That's just my opinion, that it was set up. And I know that some people are saying her earrings look like a certain type of earbud. I don't know about that. I thought it was kind of funny when I saw, but I mean, who knows? I think that if she did have an earbud in and was, because it was on the outside of her ear like that, I think that would have been picked up. People probably would have heard. So I'm pretty sure it's not. But I think, you know, they fact checked Trump like 5 times, but Kamala Harris, she had way more than 5 lies. She lied about everything, you know. But let's have a look at what a few of the Trump allied people have to say about this.
Joining us now, 2024 Republican Vice Presidential nominee, Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, great to see you. How are you? Good. Ready for the debate? Yeah. Get a lot of pointers this evening. Okay. All right, let's get your overall take. I think the thing that's frustrating to me and a lot of people, number one, I think 3-on-1 was a little frustrating. Number two, the topics that are so relevant, the radical positions that she's taken. When I first interviewed you, the first interview you did when you were vice president, when you announced to be the candidate. I asked you every hard question. And you answered every one of them. And I kept you longer. Because it was supposed to be 10 minutes, I kept you 30. I was being very nice. And so all these radical positions she's taken, still no answers. We have not moved the ball an inch. It is frustrating.
It is frustrating. The moderators, I think, did a terrible job of following up on that. But look, I think President Trump did a good job reminding the American people this is a person who wanted to ban fracking. Here we are in Pennsylvania. She supported banning fracking. She supported defunding police. She supported opening the border. And I think that the moderators did do their job. I think President Trump did do his job and reminding the American people that she has taken a number of radical positions that as he jokes, she's run away from. Now she's acting like Donald Trump. She's about to put on a MAGA hat because she realizes that was a pretty good line. It was my favorite debate. But she is a radical who is trying to run towards Donald Trump's positions because she knows that's what's popular, but it's not what she actually believes. And I think that if you go to her performance, Sean, the most striking part of it is if you actually listen to what she said, it was platitude after slogan. There was no substance. How is she going to lower grocery prices for American citizens?
Rehearse, cliched, use everything that you want to say. And the bottom line is fundamental. I hate Trump.
That's exactly right. And also, look, both of them have records. That's what's different about this election, almost any other election in my lifetime. You have two people with a record. Donald Trump is proud of his record. Kamala Harris is running away from her record because her record is higher grocery prices, homes that are unaffordable, a wide open southern border, rising fentanyl deaths. This is happening because of her failed leadership. And all we need to remind the American people of, and I think Donald Trump did a great job of this tonight, is the reason why these problems happen is because Kamala Harris failed to do her job.
Yeah, I'm going to probably have to go in and fix that for every clip I play because I had it on so I could hear it as well. And just so I was, staying up on things. But yeah, so obviously J.D. Vance and Sean Hannity figured that was one-sided. I did too. I think that probably most people did. In fact, one of the I won't play you her really her really serious criticisms of it, but here's Megyn Kelly with what she thought of this.
For me, this debate is not even about Trump and Harris. It's not about the presidential election. It's about what happened last night with what used to be a respected news organization just completely jumping into the tank for one candidate. I mean, not even. Show me a Fox News debate. Show me one Fox News debate where the moderators have ever done that for the Republican candidate of choice, right? Where they've decided we want Mitt Romney to win and they sank everybody else. That you can't find that. This was a decision by ABC to get Trump. And while he didn't help himself, taking all of her bait and so on and so forth, ABC News emerged the most victorious in having done what they wanted to do and with the biggest loss in reputation. That's my view on it.
Yeah, I probably started with an echo because I have to turn it off right away when I click onto the clip there. So Megyn Kelly, she got a lot more, graphic in her criticisms afterwards. As a matter of fact, she was quite, I'm not going to show it, but she was quite funny about her criticisms of Taylor Swift when Taylor Swift came out on the, on her support of Kamala Harris afterwards, especially because Taylor Swift mentioned that she was all in for the trans stuff, and the trans rights. But that's really picking up a lot of heat in the States right now. So, people are pushing back on that. I think, I don't know who, I know that Tulsi prepped Trump, but I don't know. He didn't seem to keep his cool. And I was a little bit disappointed. He had his back up against the wall though from the beginning. I think that he should have took more control of the situation. I think actually he should have met Kamala Harris out front of the podiums and shook her hand first instead of having her come to him, because that was a real power move, and I think that it set him on his heels a little bit. But she never answered a question. Even the first question, she didn't answer that. She dodged every single question, and when she lied, they didn't fact check her at all. Which was total BS. We all know that Trump does not support 2025. He hasn't read it. That's not his program. We know that find people on each side of the issue. The Charlottesville comment, we know that that's been debunked. Everything she was trying to lay on him. We know that he is not going to put in a federal abortions ban, the whole bit. So that's I don't know. I think that's all sorts of idiotic there. But one of the things that Trump did say is that Biden hates her. I don't know. Let's see.
There you go, man. I need that hat. No. Come on. I ain't going that far. Yeah. You would do a selfie. There he goes.
Oh, is Biden a Trump supporter now?
Hey, I'm proud of you now.
That's funny. I don't know what that's all about. Was he going just taking a shot at her, or willing to take a shot at her? Maybe he was just being friendly to the crowd. Who knows? I mean, he's got nothing to lose right now, and he apparently is pretty annoyed with Kamala. So I thought that was actually quite funny. The fact that he would put on a hat like that. And I don't know if that was a Secret Service guy that was trying to take the hat from him, or whether it was one of his aides. But you see that guy come up beside him and say, "Oh, I'll take that for you. I'll take that." And no, he hung on to it, put it on his head. I cut off the first part of that, and he said, he was making fun of the fact that he's old and senile. Actually, he's making fun of himself. So I think he's just given up on hiding it, obviously, and he doesn't care anymore. Which begs the question: what is he still doing in the White House? If he's old, if he's senile, and can't run the country like everybody is saying, then he should resign. And he at least it doesn't seem to me like it's a good idea for him to be in play. And nobody really knows who's running the country. I think that Obama is running the country. I think this is Obama's third term. And, if Kamala doesn't win, then Obama won't get his fourth term, I think. So before we move on to another topic, I just want to play a little bit of what this lady has to say. This lady here, I think, that I'm about to play, I think that she would make an excellent Secretary of State.
All right, we do want to bring in Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman and Trump campaign advisor. She's joining us here in the spin room. And Tulsi, it's good to see you. Thank you. You have a unique perspective here because not only have you debated against Kamala Harris, but you were once a Democrat. Now you support former President Trump, and you helped him with some of his debate prep. How do you think the evening went, and did you see some of the things that you discussed before the debate play out in real time tonight?
President Trump kept this debate very focused on the issues that matter most to the American people. And I think, to me, when you look at this debate, that was the biggest contrast, is that President Trump really brought voice to the American people who are concerned about crime on their streets, who are concerned about millions of illegal immigrants crossing the border, and how this doesn't just affect the border communities. This is affecting, in a very negative way, communities all across the country. He kept coming back to these issues. He kept coming back to the economy and how more and more Americans are continuing to struggle to afford basic necessities, groceries, gas, supplies, things that they are reminded of every single single day that their dollar is going shorter and shorter. It doesn't go as far as it used to be. These are the issues that the American people are most concerned about, and quite frankly, that Kamala Harris not only didn't really speak to or address, but she also didn't recognize and admit the fact that people are in this position today given the Biden-Harris administration's policies, and that they have been the ones in the White House these past 4 years, not Donald Trump.
So you talked about immigration and the economy. Those are two issues that voters have trusted, at least in the polling shows they trust Trump a bit more. But one area where he's been vulnerable has been abortion. And we heard from Nikki Haley earlier. She suggested that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance need to change the way they speak about women. Tonight, there were some heated exchanges over the issue of abortion. Trump himself has struggled to sort of define where he stands right now. How do you think he handled that part of the debate?
I think he clarified and told the truth about a lot of things that Kamala Harris accused him of that were outright lies. She was trying to tell the American people that he supports a federal abortion ban. He does not. She tried to tell the American people that he's trying to ban IVF, something that's personal to me because it's something that my husband and I, for years, tried to start our own family through the use of IVF. It didn't work out for us, works out for a lot of families. President Trump was quick on the draw when that Alabama court ruled, and he immediately said, no, we have to protect IVF, and the Alabama state legislature took action. She continued to say things, trying to say he's trying to ban birth control. That is also 100% false. So President Trump, I think, did a good job in clarifying the truth after Kamala Harris continued to lob lie after lie at him, saying things that he stood for that frankly just are not true.
He also made a pretty serious allegation saying that he took a bullet to the head because of the way Democrats, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, have been talking about him, saying that he's a threat to democracy. You're a former Democrat. Do you think that Democrats are to blame, at least in part, for that assassination attempt? And remember, the FBI says they don't know what the motive was in that attack.
There is no doubt in my mind that those who use such insightful rhetoric as calling Donald Trump the same as our modern day Hitler, not once, not twice, but year after year after year after year, it doesn't take it shouldn't take an FBI investigator to add 1 + 1 = 2. People always say, well, what would you have done if you were in a position where you could have stopped Hitler back during World War II? To think that any person watching them call Donald Trump today's modern day Hitler wouldn't take it upon themselves to say, hey, maybe I should be that hero to go and take out this man who these people I see on television, who these powerful people in Washington are saying is our modern day Hitler, then you're not actually living in the real world. There are consequences to using that dangerous, insightful rhetoric, and it would not surprise me to know that it would lead to that very dangerous and tragic situation.
Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, thank you for your time.
Nice to talk to you.
So it looks like somebody's saying that Trudeau was in Surrey today, which I don't doubt. He goes to Surrey, goes to the Indian temples out there. So yeah, let me know a little bit about that. I'll check it out after the broadcast. So so that was Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, I think, would have made a great vice president. Matter of fact, I was, I started following her after the presidential run last time in 2020, and she was one of the I thought a very solid candidate, and she probably would have made a great president. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes on to maybe actually join the Republican Party and run for the presidency or the vice president next time around. She's very well spoken, very level-headed, very knowledgeable. I know that some people have a few negative things to say about her, but I've never saw anything that would lead me to believe that she's nothing but authentic. And I mean, I think that up until I think it was who was it? Bill Clinton. Up until Bill Clinton, every single president had been in the military or National Guard. So I think that's one also one kind of check mark for her, because if you're going to be commander in chief, I think that you got to really know, because the U.S. is such a strong military country, strong military culture. I think it really pays to have that experience under your belt. So yeah, I don't know what more to say other than it was a bit of a painful debate, I thought, because Trump was just being picked on, ganged up on. They don't like him, but I think most of the people do. He apparently is tied for popular vote, maybe a little bit ahead, maybe a little bit behind, 1 or 2 points. But as far as the Congressional College, it looks like he's actually got a 60% chance of winning. So I think actually that would be a good thing for Canada, especially if we can get Pierre Poilievre in there. So who knows? Yeah. 3 against 1 plus whoever was talking in those earrings. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about is, I guess Marc Carney would be a good place to start, because in Nanaimo, just up the road from where I am, I'm down in Duncan area, he officially joined the Liberals. Let's just play what he said, and then I want to make a few comments about that.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. I'll just say a few words, and then please take your questions. Look, and let me start by saying it's an honor to accept this role as chair of this new task force on economic growth for the Prime Minister, for the leader. Very pleased by the discussion in the room, the ideas and the energy of the members, and look forward to working with them to develop the strategy. And I look forward, and I may regret this, I'm looking forward to your questions.
Pitching your wagon to a party that is really struggling right now. Why
Look, first thing, I have a couple of simple rules. One, if the Prime Minister of Canada asks me to do something, I will do it. I will serve to the best of my ability. Secondly, I'm interested. I have some experience in these issues, and I'm interested in helping our country to grow. I'm interested in doing something, not being something.
Would you like to run for office?
Look, I think that the story for today and the task that I've taken on is it's a big task. It's an important task, but I'm a catalyst in a much broader effort of those members of Parliament in that room, effort of other Canadians. Look, these issues, those who really think about our future are increasingly seized with these issues. And the question is, how do you translate those to the best ideas, the best policies that are going to make real differences for Canadians?
Will you be advising them to make any changes on purpose?
I think the fundamental, sometimes what happens with these issues around is that the focus misses an important other aspect, which is that, as I said a moment ago, being low carbon is going to be a determinant of whether we can create jobs, whether we can sell our products in the United States, in Europe, around the world. We have to help our companies become more competitive. There's a huge range of things that the federal government can do, many of which they are doing. Huge range of things that other companies, the provincial governments and other stakeholders need to do in order for that to be the case. And we need to be clear-eyed about not the challenge, but the scale of the opportunity, because no country is in a better position for this.
Yeah, so lack of action by the RCMP in British Columbia, and it says RCP heads compromised. Yeah, it is true. But I never really trusted too many white shirts. There was a few, but most of the white shirts, when they got up too high, it's like they lost touch. There was a few actually that got fairly high that I respected, but not that many of them. But anyways, back to Mark Carney there. I can't say that I trust Mark Carney, mainly because, you know, his connection to the WEF and his all this talk about carbon and whatnot. I'm just thinking that he's not really going to be good for the country. But I think one of the things that one of the questions I have here is he's supposed to be working for the Liberals. So who's paying him? Nobody's asked that. Where is he getting paid? Like, I'm assuming that they're paying him for his services, but who's paying him? Because he's working for the Liberals. He's not working for Parliament. He's not working for Canada, apparently. You know, he's advising the Liberals while not being an elected official. So who's paying him? I think that he should be paid out of whatever money that the Liberals have in their party and not the government. So I can imagine, though, that they're probably dipping into all of this money that they have for contractors and whatnot, and then paying him, which if you think about it, is a violation of the of their finance rules, because you have to put things like contracts out for bid, you know, and since they had all this scandal with the Auditor General a couple months ago, them just hiring somebody out of the blue to do a job like that doesn't seem to be kosher. So I think that they are, you know, they may have stepped in it. I don't know for sure. He's got a good reputation amongst Liberals, but I don't trust him. And I think that, we've got just another bigwig WEF guy. And one of the things that really is concerning is he shut down, or he didn't like any of the oil pipelines that were being built in Canada. And he spoke out against all of those. And now, but then when they looked into it, he was, a major executive in Brookfield, which was investing in all sorts of oil fields and oil pipelines abroad. So he's a walking contradiction. You know, if it makes money for him, I guess he's okay with it, but not if it is good for Canada. So looks like there's a lot of discussion here of the of something that's the RCMP. I'll go back over the comments later. I'm not looking at all of them as you scroll down. So yeah, what do you guys think about Carney? And I don't think that he's he's good for Canada. I think that he's too corrupted by the WEF, and I think that everybody should be very wary of what he comes up with. You know, that said, I guess got to give people a chance. I just, I'm worried about who's even paying him, and that's a big question for me. So there's that. Now, of course, with the kind of power vacuum that the NDP left when they kind of got out of their deal with the government, it looks like the Bloc is really taking advantage of that, and not for the good of Canadians.
How do you feel about getting all of this additional power?
Good. Thank you.
Bloc Québécois Deputy House Leader Christine Normandin. I saw your leader, Mr. Blanchette, asked how it feels to have all this power, and he said, good. How do you think it's going to work between you and the Liberals now that the NDP have pulled out of their agreement?
Well, actually, it's kind of back to what it is supposed to be. For 2.5 years, we've been in a kind of a de facto majority government, and that's not what people voted for. So we're back to what a minority government is supposed to be. So it gives us back some power, and I think it's been mentioned quite extensively this week. So we'll have more room to make requests and make gains for Quebec, which is our motto, how we are. If it's good for Quebec, we vote for it. If it's not, we vote against it. But now we can make more requests, and those requests will have to be heard if the government wants to stay in place.
Has there been any conversations yet with the Liberals?
We're waiting for the Liberals to call us, actually. We're very speakable. So we're just waiting for a phone call so we can start to discuss. I think they need us more than we need them in a way. How
long do you see this Parliament lasting now that the supply and confidence agreement has ended and the Bloc is suddenly in a much more interesting position than while that agreement was in place?
Well, I definitely don't have a crystal ball as to when we'll be in election, but the way we see it is that we now have more room to negotiate, and we have no interest in keeping Justin Trudeau in place just for the sake of keeping him in place, as we don't have any reason to give Pierre Poilievre what he wants, which is a government that Quebecers don't want. So we're not looking at this way. We're looking at the possibility of gains, the window of opportunity that just opened, and how we can use it. But in every event, we're ready for an election whenever it may come. We'll be ready, but it's not how we look at it. We don't have a schedule saying, well, we want an election then or that date. We're looking at the opportunity of making gains, and that's the sole window through which we'll analyze every decision we will be making.
When you look at the parliamentary calendar and the political calendar ahead, do you see any trouble spots in terms of where a vote could happen that could bring this whole thing crashing down and that election starting much earlier than expected?
We'll take it decision by decision. And I don't feel that the population has necessarily an appetite, not in Quebec at least, does have an appetite for an election and doesn't want us to abdicate the possibility of making gains for them. And we've been the adult in the room for the past 2.5 years and more, actually. And they know we're the voice of reason and we're not ultra partisan. And we're only talking about trying to make gains for the people we represent and for Quebec. And that's how we analyze things. So we're more in an electoral mode, but the target is still to make gains for Quebec and for its people. And that's the sole way to analyze whatever we'll be doing in the future.
So, I've always wondered how we could allow a party that only serves one province in Canada to even be in the federal government. I guess we don't have rules against it, so they had to allow it. But maybe there should be a rule against it. As you can see from that clip, and, the head of the party, he just, had a one-word response to, now he's got all this power. He feels good about it. And when she was talking, she wasn't talking about doing anything for Canada. She was talking about doing everything for Quebec. And sometimes there's an overlap, but if it just, it's not right that we have people who are only out for one province in the federal government. The federal government is supposed to be, it's supposed to be run for everybody, and they actually might have a good chance of becoming the official oppositions in the next election, because of how bad the Liberals and the NDP are going. So that would be really quite bizarre. Now they're definitely going to do better than, they did better than the NDP last time as well. So they'll be one rung down from the Liberals, if the Liberals even maintain the official opposition after the next election. So I just watched that clip, and the reason why I wanted to share it was it struck me that they're only out for how much power they can get and how much they can get for Quebec. So it means that everybody else in Canada is going to be basically subordinate to whatever they want, because they're now controlling the Liberals. You know, if the Liberals want to stay in power for the next year, they have to play nice with the Bloc. To me, that just isn't a good situation. So I'm not impressed with that. Now, again, I think that to be an official party, you should actually run candidates in all provinces in Canada. And but that's just my opinion on that. Maybe I'm out there, maybe I'm wrong, but I just think that is a little bit out there. Now, Marc Miller was talking about something that I did a video on earlier this week. It didn't get much traction, but I didn't think it would. Actually, I think it was the last video I put out. And it was about a guy from Toronto who was originally from Pakistan, who had made some threats and had conspired to commit some pretty heinous crimes down in New York. And actually, YouTube didn't want to monetize that one because it wasn't ad friendly, but I asked them for a physical review and they changed their minds. But let's hear what Marc Miller had to say on that.
Je vais juste commencer avec quelques mots. I've been getting questions about an individual that entered Canada and has been arrested in charges related to an attempt to cross the border for a terrorist plot. I can confirm that Mohammed Khan is a Pakistani national who entered Canada on May, or was issued a visa in May of 2023, and was given and entered Canada on the 24th of June of the same year, so 2023. This was a successful operation, and any security operation in a country like Canada is multifaceted, whether it's at the border or when it's in Canada and we have our police services that are acting responsibly and arresting these people as they gather the evidence. We take any security breach and any entry into Canada very seriously, and there is a multifaceted way of being able to apprehend these individuals. Let's not be naive. A determined individual can gain access to this country, and that is for the security services inside our country to apprehend this person if they commit a crime or if they're about to commit a crime, and that's exactly what happened. Our police forces did their jobs and arrested the individual. And
Can you give us information about the kind of visa that was issued to him?
He was on a student visa. Yeah, he was granted a student visa in May of 2023, and he entered at Pearson Airport June 24th of 2023 that year.
And does that spark some particular concern about how student visas are granted then?
I'm not going to speculate on the various original ways that people have ill intentions towards Canada coming to this country, or whether they were developed while people were here. Again, that's speculation. I mean, we're always concerned about how people obtain their visas, particularly if it's through fraudulent means. I've taken a number of steps throughout the summer to turn the screws a bit on that process. But again, this is a criminal case. It's ongoing, and it's careless to speculate further.
Terrorism-related immigration cases. What is your message to Canadians who have reasonable concerns about the security of our immigration process?
Well, I think Canadians can be confident that our security systems and apparatuses actually worked. We are constantly looking internally at what we can do to make sure Canadians continue to be safe. But again, no one can pretend and stand honestly in front of you and say that a well-determined actor can't come to this country, and that's why we have the security apparatuses that we have in this country. And in the two cases that you mentioned, Laura, our police did their jobs and the system worked.
So he's talking about this guy who got into Canada, came over a year ago, just over a year ago, and he's obviously he's a terrorist or wannabe terrorist when he came over. What kind of background check did they actually do on him? This just seems to be another failure, mainly of probably Passport and Immigration and Passport Canada, who are supposed to do the checks. but they rely on a lot of the systems that we have in place. I'm not against immigration at all. My wife's an immigrant. She went through quite a bit of background. I mean, we did. It was quite a process when we got her permanent residency and whatnot. So, I think that they should just have a lot of consistency. So, is it that Pakistan doesn't keep good enough records? Did they not interview him? Did they not interview any of his, the people around him? I mean, if you apply for a passport or you apply for your firearms license, your PAL, they call your references, and they talk to your references. Sometimes they do a little bit more background. So I just think that they're just not doing enough. And when we find out that it was the FBI who notified the RCMP of this guy, and they had already started an investigation. So what that entailed and what they got from the RCMP as far as assistance goes before the arrest, I don't know. But when you consider that the last two who were arrested by the RCMP, we were notified by France about their involvement with ISIS. It just, to me, every time this happens, it's so embarrassing that we have, that we're relying on other countries to do our work for us, to do our work for the police. Our police should have the resources and the manpower and whatnot to do that job. And same with Passport and Immigration Canada. Having worked for the federal government for many, many years, I know that the government is they want a lot from the police and they don't want to pay for it. And I get that. I just don't agree with it because they're wasting money on so many other things. But I don't want them to give too much money to the police either because, well, you see what the government will do, what the government will use the police for. When you look at what happened in 2022. So, it's a double-edged sword though, but if we don't have the resources to protect Canadians and to stop people from coming in who shouldn't be here, then we really have a problem. And if we're relying on other countries to do that job, I get it. We're part of the Five Eyes. I get it that we communicate all the time with those other countries, but it just doesn't make any sense for us to not be able to track down these, enough information on people who are moving into our country. So I'm just not impressed with that. And I know that that's probably one of those controversial statements because a lot of people the RCMP is patting themselves on the back for arresting this guy. But the thing is they only arrested him and got the information because the FBI was doing their job. So, and who knows how that information was originally developed, whether it was from the NSA or from some other source. So that's what that's kind of my take on that. And then we go back to, just going back to Nanaimo for a little bit here. Guess who thinks that people don't want an actual election in Canada?
Okay. Hey guys, I don't think you have any questions. You asked all of them to Mark Miller.
What do you say to them to convince them that the polls are not what they are or that they're so changeable?
Mariki, what I heard this summer was Canadians don't want elections. They just want us to do the job. They just want us to govern. And that's what we're doing. We're governing. We're taking tough decisions. Why? Because times are tough. And so, wait, let me finish. I'm speaking. So, the reality is, like I said in French, is we know that cost of living is too expensive, that people are frustrated with it. So what do? We do everything to reduce the cost of things and services. So that's why we have dental care. That's why we're working on a Medicare plan. That's why we have also affordable housing. And that's also why we're really working on childcare. These are all things that the government are doing. And good news, we have new people now that will be there to help us to make sure that we have a very strong economy at the same time that the middle class is protected.
Laurence asked about Marc Carney.
Yeah. Well, I said, I know Marc Carney. I've known him for some time now, and we had a good conversation yesterday. I think it's good news that he's going to be there to help us with economic issues.
So she thinks that Canadians don't want an election. I'm not sure what things are like in Quebec because, as you heard earlier, the Bloc Québecois didn't think that Quebecers wanted an election. But from a poll I did on this country and from what I've been hearing is upwards of 71% wanted an election, an early election back in the spring, and over 50% now still do. But I guess it really depends on the poll and how the question was put to you, because the pollsters can really twist what the answers that they get by the questions that they ask and how they ask the particular question. So all the comments about how much she moves her hands, right? So if you wanted her to stop talking, maybe you should tie her hands together. That used to be the old joke. But so apparently she's got a little bit of controversy going on with her husband. If you look at this now, I took all the information. I put it on a different sheet because I didn't do a screenshot. But basically, her husband here is part of a program. It doesn't say how much he got, but there were some write-offs that he was allowed to get for being a future entrepreneur. And I'm not even sure what that means. A future entrepreneur. So he doesn't even have a company. That's just bizarre. But he gets these write-offs. So I don't exactly know what that program was. She apparently took some wasn't involved or recused herself from making any decisions with regards to that program. But if it was under her portfolio, it's just wrong for her to even be a part of it. And since she's a minister, it's just wrong for anybody that close to a minister to be the beneficiary of any government programs. In my opinion, it doesn't look good, and I just don't think that is right. Here's the thing: even if she didn't, or anybody in the government didn't give him a push or a leg up, well, he knew about the program probably through her, so that in itself is a leg up. Because how many people in Canada go their entire lives and have businesses and build something for themselves, and they don't necessarily know all of the programs that are available to them. But he knew, and it's just it just doesn't make any sense. And this whole program doesn't make any sense either. Like, what why do you get write-offs for something you might do in the future? It just doesn't, that to me doesn't make any sense at all. But a lot of the things that the Liberals do don't make sense to me. And I know that a lot of people might say, well, some of these programs were available under previous Conservative governments, but the Liberals have been in power the most since Confederation, and they have ruined the country the most, in my opinion, because when you every time the Conservatives get in, they're kind of behind the eight ball. They have to make the tough decisions that nobody likes, because the Liberal government before them screwed everything up and got us in the debt, and that was exactly what happened after Pierre Elliott Trudeau. I thought that he was the worst prime minister ever until his son came along. But I mean, that's just kind of my opinion. I know some other people may have some other things to say about that. But anyways, that's pretty much what I have today. That's my ramblings and whatnot. I do want to let's see here. I was playing something at the beginning that was kind of funny, and just to get us in the mood and get us out, maybe I'll play that again if I can find it here, because for some reason I couldn't hook it up to my screen, my Stream Deck. Everything else worked on my Stream Deck except for this one here. So I'll see if I can get it working.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
I just think that's hilarious. All the cat memes and the dog memes coming up from, Trump and his comments was just hilarious. Just hilarious. Anyway, I'll let you guys go with that. I've been kind of watching the comments, and I think we've talked about it, most things that have gone on through the comments through the program tonight. So, hey, by the way, I'm not going to have a program next week. Okay, I shouldn't say for sure I'm not going to. I'm traveling on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to have to try and figure out if I can get my hand finally fixed. Had a fight on Banff Avenue a few decades ago, and now I've got this terrible arthritis in my hand, my right hand. So it's getting to the point where even getting a really good grip on a gun is difficult. So I'm going to go see somebody about that. And I'm back on Thursday, but I probably won't have time to put anything together. But you never know. I might just, I might be able to come on and do that. It's unfortunate. It's the first day that Parliament is back, because I do have a lot of things to say about what goes on in Parliament, because obviously it's a bit of a joke there. So, yeah. Hope you guys have a great evening, have a great week, and I might see you next week, or you might see me next week, but probably in 2 weeks' time.